Hi guys, so this video is going to be an exploration of the NI function and an elucidation and a clarification of the NI function that you may not have heard before, but which is absolutely central to understanding the NI function in its full breadth and depth. And a lot of NI users, strong NI users, including NI dominants, who in a sense are most concerned by this topic, whether they be INFJ or INTJ, are not aware of this distinction that I'm going to bring to you now. And the distinction is between NI consolidation and NI expansion, two different aspects of NI growth that really need to be understood in their global nature if you are really looking at growth, including growing into a spiritualized INFJ, for example, or a spiritualized INTJ. Because for the purposes of this video, we're going to assume that the slight differences between the two types in regard to those modes living matter less than the similarities. Okay, so what I would say is this. Usually when NI users and non-NI users who interact with NI users talk of cultivating NI, making NI stronger, growing NI, the focus is really much more on consolidation and not so much on expansion. And in some sense, we can understand why, because consolidation is a more introverted process, whereas expansion is a more extroverted process. So for INFJs and INTJs anyway, introversion is the baseline. So consolidation is going to be in some sense the baseline. And it is the baseline. You need to start with some level of consolidation before you expand. But in order to further consolidate, you need to have expanded first. So it's like, it starts with consolidation, then expansion, consolidation, expansion, consolidation, expansion. But how can I define this? To help you, excuse me, those actually are my books. How am I treating my books? I shouldn't be doing this to my books. In order to, I'm going to use an analogy, right? A tennis analogy. So imagine a tennis player. So Novak Djokovic. Novak Djokovic, when he was, like, let's say in 2010 versus him now, right? So in 2010, he was like a really promising player, already one of the best players in the world, but he was not at the level of Nadal, he was not at the level of Federer, and it wasn't quite sure. We couldn't really have predicted then that he was going to get to having literally the best track record of any player in history and a serious claim to being the greatest player of all time. So what happened between Novak Djokovic in 2010 and Novak Djokovic in 2024? Well, he expanded his skill set. When he was playing in 2010, he had some very key strengths. His return, was amazing. His ground stroke were fantastic. And he was very, he didn't make a lot of mistakes, very few unforced errors. Okay, so those skills had been really honed nearly to perfection. You could say consolidated. And at some point, Djokovic realized, if I want to be the best player, if I want to beat those guys, particularly Nadal and Federer, I need to learn to do more things. I need to significantly improve my serve. I need to improve my skill at the net, and I need to improve my mental strength. I need to get angry less often. I need to be more calm, more imperturbable. So I'm going to expand my skill set and then further consolidate those new skills I have, so that instead of having like those 3 or 4 really consolidated skills that allow me to be a great player, I will be consolidating like 7 or 8 skills that will make me the greatest player. Okay, so hopefully you can begin to understand the analogy here. An INFJ or an INTJ, or people who are strong NI users will tend to think first of all their NI strengths, and they will want to cultivate them in more introverted modes. Okay, so the idea here is that the more introverted time you spend exploring your NI internally, the more you're going to strengthen it. This is only partly true. You're going to get to a stage where you have indeed consolidated whatever constitutes your NI holism, but you're going to get to a point also of slightly diminishing returns, or very greatly diminishing returns, if this is what you're doing all the time, without engaging external reality. Because engaging external reality is giving yourself the opportunity to make new experiences. And these new experiences feed you information. They feed you psychic cognitive information. That's done mainly via the SE function. Even though in the case of an INFJ and INTJ, I've made this point many times before, because SE is inferior, the primary conscious intentional mode of doing this is through extroverted judgment. FE for INFJs, T for INTJs. Through doing this, there will necessarily be SE engagement as well, although it'd be less noticed and a little bit further from your purview, but it's going to be happening. And the more you engage external reality and you sort of add up those experiences, the more your NI world is going to not just consolidate, but expand. The fear is often that if you do this, you're going to dissolve, and what you have worked on consolidating will dissolve. It's a false fear. Once you have consolidated your NI, whatever is in your NI, you're not going to lose it. But you might have to, make more room for your more extroverted functions to accrue new experiences and allow your NI world to grow. So instead of being like this little holistic circle, yes, it's holistic. Yes, it's consolidated as a holism, which is a sign that NI is working, but it's small. You just want to widen the circle. You just want to expand it that way. And then consolidate it so that you'll be operating with an NI world that is there, but instead of being this little circle, it's that big circle. And by the way, this is also key to liberation. It's key to spiritualization, because what is spiritualization? Ultimately, it's the ability to translate your NI worldview into a real life project, breathing life into a real life project so that you can resolve severance and be able to engage externality from the point of view of your NI worldview. So you're not losing your NI, but you're also not losing the contact with external reality, and indeed you're able to bridge them through this notion of vocation, this notion of having a particular destiny or project with others, through books, through work, working as a psychiatrist. Well, it can be lots of things, but you need to create that bridge. The thing is, for the bridge to be effective, the NI world must contain within itself enough of understanding of external reality that it can indeed bridge. But you can't do that if you're only consolidated what's within NI in the first place. You need also to consolidate what NI has processed from external reality so that it can then have the further attribute, your NI that is, of projecting into external reality to turn into to manifest as a life project. And then you can reach spiritualization. You'll no longer be adaptive, you'll no longer be solipsistic. You'll have transcended those, but in order to do that, NI needs to experience consolidation first, yes, because you need enough sturdiness, otherwise you're just adaptive and you're lost in the midst of others. So you need to have that kind of sturdiness of NI in the first place, that first step of consolidation, then expansion, consolidation, expansion. And this is key to the phenomenon of spiritualization, and that's the highest stage of NI. So hopefully that distinction was useful. Let me know in the comments if it was. Give me a like. Those books that I, mercilessly dropped onto the floor, I think I could also recommend to you, because they're all about NI and INFJs and subtypes of INFJs and how INFJs interact with external reality. So The Infinite Soul, INFJ Life in the Modern World, is basically a treatise on that, how INFJs can find happiness, purpose, value in this world that they often consider hostile, how to move from adaptation to solipsism to liberation. I touched on this in today's video, but you can go much further. And by the way, if you love the book but you haven't reviewed it, it helps so much with the referencing. I'd be so grateful if you just spent a few minutes on Amazon to rate it. Please consider it. And the prequel to it, The Ecstatic Soul, you might be familiar with this, is all about the complexities of the INFJ mind and INFJ consciousness. What is it like to be an INFJ actually? What does it mean to be an INFJ? What does an INFJ think like? What are their way of being in the world? Deepest investigation. The two books go very well together. The links are below. And as usual, don't forget that my channel very much depends on your donations, your very generous donations. There's a one-off PayPal donation option that you have. Else my Patreon page, there's a growing community there. You can interact with me there. You can suggest new content. You get access to bonus contents, currently like in-depth treatments of particular topics from my books or from my more mainstream YouTube content. So please consider it. It's the lifeblood of my channel. That's what keeps me going in these difficult times. From $3.50 a month. The link is right below. And so looking forward to interacting with you there or in my next video, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.